Okay, let's go ahead and take what we've learned so far about control structures, our if and if-else statements, and arrays, and create kind of a fun little script. So I'm going to jump back to the resource pack directory, and I'm going to open up the third step in the logic and functions folder called logic playing with a peach. Go ahead and copy all of the code in this file and paste it over the code that's currently in your test.php file and save it. Now from here on out, when we look at code, it makes sense to start at the top and work our way down. That's exactly what PHP is doing when it's executing this script. So it's the best way to understand the logic that PHP is using as it's running through code. So the script that we have here is basically an enhancement of the script that we just created, except in this case, we're not requiring somebody to go in and change the value of peach from good to bad in order to change the output. In this case, we're adding some code to select a random adjective like good, bad, or ugly on its own, so every time we refresh the page, it will show something different. We're also adding an additional element of interest, which will capitalize all of the letters in certain cases and replace the period at the end with an exclamation mark to make the phrase seem more exciting. Okay, let's go ahead and start at the top. So we're beginning with an array of options. So we're setting our options variable to an array, and the values are good, bad, and ugly. These are the values that we played with in our previous example. And then we want to select a random item from this array, and so we're going to use a function that we used before called arrayRand, and we're going to assign that value to random key. So at this point, random key will have good, bad, or ugly in it. Now what arrayRand will return is a random key rather than the random value. So again, with a simple array like this, the keys begin at 0 and then go up from there. So good will have a key of 0, bad will have a key of 1, ugly will have a key of 2. So random key will be a number between 0 and 2. So our next step is deciding what we're going to print to the screen based on the value that got selected randomly. So this control structure is an if, else if statement. And the condition that we're checking might look a little strange right now, so let me explain what we're doing here. Now because we're checking against the value of good, and the random key that we have is a number, we need to find out which adjective here matches up with the key. Now in previous videos, we looked at how we could reference a particular item in an array by using the key number. And so what we're doing here is taking that number, which is in the variable random key, again this is going to be 0, 1, or 2, and we're passing it as the key to the options array, and that will return the value of that. So that will return either good, bad, or ugly. If it's good, again, we're using the double equal sign operator to check to see if this value equals this value. If that's true, then the output will be this peach is very good. Now another difference here between this script and our previous one is that instead of printing directly to the screen, what we're doing is capturing this string inside of a variable. This will allow us to do something else with it later on. Next, we're using if-else to check to see if the option that got selected is bad. If it is, then it will set the output variable to this peach is lame. And finally, if it's anything else, it will trigger this else statement, and it will assign the string, sorry, the peach rating is not valid, to the output variable. Okay, so at this point, we'll have something in our output variable to output to the screen. But for this script, that's not quite enough. So what we're going to do is randomly decide whether we're going to yell this output by making it all capital letters and adding an exclamation mark to the end, or just display it as a normal phrase. So we need an element of randomness to decide when we're going to yell and when we're not going to. So what we're going to do here is use a function called rand, which is very similar to arrayRand, except what it takes as the first parameter is the starting potential number, and as the last parameter, it takes the potential last number. So for yelling, we're going to either do it or not do it, but we could also use rand to select a random number between 0 and 100, for example, or between 50 and 1,000. So at this point, yell will equal either 0 or 1. We only want to yell 50% of the time, so we're going to check to see if yell equals 1, and if so, we're going to take the output that was generated from this code up here, and we're going to convert it to all uppercase using the str2upper function that we used in a previous video. And we're going to assign that back to the output variable. And then we're going to take the period, that is at the end of the string, and we're going to convert it to an exclamation mark using the str replace or string replace function. Now you've seen this before as well. And what it does is take 3 parameters. As the first one, it's the value that we're going to replace. And the second parameter is what we're going to replace the first parameter value with. And the third parameter is the string that we're going to perform the replacement in. And then finally, what we're going to do is print the output to the screen. Sometimes it will be yelled, and sometimes it won't be. So let's go ahead and save this, and then jump to our browser and refresh. So our first phrase is, "This peach is lame." I'm going to refresh again. And now we see this peach is lame, but it's exclaimed, and then there's an exclamation mark at the end. I'll refresh again, and refresh again. And you see while there's a limit to how much fun we can have with this script, there's still something that is kind of fun and interesting about this. Hopefully at this point, what you're thinking is, this could be so much better, because in this next section, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make it more exciting, more interesting.